people have never practiced Ashtanga yoga? You kidding? He's kidding, okay. So everybody has done a little bit, that's great. I'm not an Ashtanga yoga missionary, I'm not out to convert everybody. Practice Ashtanga. But there's something more profound to do, is to actually study Ashtanga. Ashtanga is a really profound method, and there's a lot of teachings contained within Ashtanga. And I think that our practice should help us unfold that, to let that express itself. Not just waiting for your friend to do it for you. Can you be your own best friend inside yourself, creating that work? And then using that as a kind of control, as a protection, within that container of front ribs down, back ribs up. Can you find the divine being inside? Her feet on the pelvic floor, her hands on the inner surface of the breastbones, pressing up and out, without compromising all this other work of the container, of the bandha. Can you find this elongation, this expansion and lengthening through the center line, through the core, all the way through the neck, beyond the crown of the head. So you're not just working with the physical body, which ends at your skin. You're working with more subtle bodies that extend beyond the boundaries of your Surya Namaskara. Yeku. Inhale. Hold to the center. Feel your feet. Dwe. Hold to the center. Sama stick to your feet. Let your head fall. Training. Inhale. Elongate. Donkey ears. Elongate out of the stability of the pelvis. Press your hand. Step the other foot back if you're stepping back. Walk or jump your choice. And take your time. Continue. Whatever continue means for you. The front stretch, feel how the hands work. You pull against the hands to pull the chest forwards. And then down dog, you press the hands forward. Remember the work we did yesterday together. And not so important to just instantly straighten your legs and press your heels to the floor. It's probably not that helpful for you. But feel that you work from the hands through the arms. What are you doing with the arms? What are you doing with your head, and how does that affect your posture? Is the weight of the head pulling the inner arm and trapezius towards the front of the body? And what happens if you lift the head up a lot, and you feel the inner arm lift as if you're giving yourself that adjustment, and then use the roots, the tiger's mouth, pressing down to find that balance? A bunch of books written about meditation that I think really speak to practice as a rule, practice more universally, and totally apply to the practice of Ashtanga yoga. And some of the titles, it's been interesting in the last couple of decades, some fairly creative titles, like start from where you are. You know, it's a simple idea, but not an easy thing to do. Start from where you are implies that you have some idea of where you are. But we really don't know when we first begin to practice where we are. And as we continue to practice, we start to get a feeling about it. It takes years, really. I mean, think about it. Feel inside yourself your understanding of where you are, the condition of your body-mind as it is now, and your sense of it, compared to when you first started, how many years ago. Certainly, I hope, you have a better sense of where you are now than you did when you started. But think about what you thought it was when you first started. You know, compared to what you're starting to see now. And the realization of how much more there is to learn, right? It's not done. There's a lot more we can discover about who we are, where we are in our condition of our body and mind. That's the attraction to doing more advanced postures, as you get into a more subtle awareness of where you're at. The advanced postures, if practice is a tool for observation, and practice is a mirror to help us see ourselves, then the advanced postures are magnifying mirrors. It's a 2x mirror, a 5x mirror, a 20x mirror. As you get deeper into the advanced sequences, it shows things more clearly as to where the imbalances are. And this is what we're trying to discover. Patabi Joy's teaching Ashtanga Yoga. What really struck me is what he was really interested to continue was the method of the sequence, the breath movements, and how that sequence is laid out from the beginning to the end. When you inhale and what you do, and when you exhale and what you do, and how you get into this pose and how you get out of that pose. And that seems to me like the most important thing he felt he wanted to share with us. I don't know if this is true. I'm making this up. So, buyer beware. Use your own discretion. It seems to me that he didn't really become well known until later in his life. He was 65 when I met him in 1983. And I think an awareness of his mortality and something that he wanted to share with the world. I think he was really passionate about perpetuating this knowledge of Ashtanga Yoga. That there wasn't a lot of time, and he took a very efficient kind of approach of just teaching us the sequence. It maybe also his personality and the way that he had been taught wasn't a lot of technical information about how to get into the poses. There was this sort of belief that if you do it enough times that everything works out. I don't know where else that works. I think that learning other things, like learning to play music, I think is an interesting metaphor. That if you play something incorrectly, you're basically strengthening that incorrect pattern. You need to have an intent to improve and to stop making the same mistake over and over again. I think that he wanted to share with us the sequence of postures. And there wasn't a lot of instruction as to how to do the postures, what to do with your foot in Trikonasana, the kind of stuff that I'm sharing with you guys. It didn't come from him. Very little of it. Little things. Sometimes he would come up to us in Trikonasana and it felt like he was knocking you over. You're in a certain comfort zone and he'd push you off your comfort zone. And there were times when, even with, in later years, when I started to have a little more understanding of alignment from a different perspective, that I could see that a lot of his adjustments were actually bringing you to this balance point. That's what it was about. Not always. Sometimes it was really just making you go further, making you grab your hand or making you grab your feet. But there were times when it was, getting on the inner foot in Trikonasana, not by saying it, but by how he pushed you. So, I don't know. The old guard, a lot of the first generation. I don't consider myself first generation of Ashtangis. That was the third trip of Patabi's when I went to meet him the first time. There already was a group who were practicing advanced postures when I started. I remember being really impressed by watching them practice. I think that if you if you practice on your own, the body has a certain innate intelligence. And if you don't push yourself too hard, even if your alignment's not that good, your body will kind of give you the warning signals to not hurt yourself. It's when you start to apply more force or you start getting pushed harder that you really start to create some problems. I think that we want to challenge ourselves more. And so we do need to, at a certain point in our practice, challenge ourselves to use more intensity, to apply ourselves more into pushing into the root and to elongate more. We want to do that. It's not just kind of hang out in the pose and you're not really working very hard. But as you start to work harder, you need to see the result that you're getting, and we need to be mindful of what's the effect on the body, that we're not hurting ourselves. So if you're not getting pushed very hard, then maybe the misalignments.
You have a life, you have a family, and you're going to spend 2 hours doing your practice. Or you do a yoga workshop and you spend 5 hours, 4 days in a row, and your family's going, "Where's Mom?" Right. But yes, you're doing something for yourself, but you're also doing something for everyone else, for your family, for your community, for the planet. Really, the power of personal practice is huge. It's probably the most powerful thing any of us can do.